Welcome to the Goalie Mindset Podcast. My name is Pete Fry, the Goalie Mindset Guy, and my purpose is to help goalies have a dominating goalie career. Pete Fry, the Goalie Mindset Guy here. This is the Goalie Mindset Podcast. I have legendary goalie coach Eli Wilson on today. Eli has been coaching goalies for 25 plus years, I believe, 25 plus years. Yeah. And he's coached the greats. He's coached Devan Dubnyk. He's coached Carey Price. He's coached Tim Thomas, Stuart Skinner, a lot of great, many more as well too. Eli, great to have you on, and we're also good friends. We've known each other for a long time. I coached you a long time ago when you were 18 or 19 developing, so it's been a great relationship. It's been a long time.
It has been a long time. So thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, it's always good to have you on.
Yeah.
See you grow and prosper. You're getting better every year.
We're working at it.
You're getting better shape every year too, eh? You look jacked.
I think every day.
Yeah, big time. I know you eat healthy too. You got your
I work
your
on
meals.
it, yeah.
Yeah, your meals planned out and stuff. And so, let's have some fun. Let's chat about goaltending, see what we can do to add the most value to goalies, goalie parents, and coaches today. So let's start off, just a question out of the blue for you. Let's go right into Carey Price. Go into Carey Price. If there was just one thing that made him different and separated him from other goaltenders, from the time that you learned when you coached them, what would that one thing be?
The ability to focus and concentrate and block everything else out. When he was working on his skills, like the task at hand was the only thing that mattered to him, and you could really tell the level of focus and concentration, in his eyes and everything else that he was doing on the ice.
Really? And what would be an example of something that he's able to block out that, say, other goalies haven't been able to block out?
I'm not sure exactly what he was blocking out, but I really noticed everything that we did. He was really dialed in on it all the time, and it never wavered. He was there for a purpose and to get better every time he was on the ice, and whatever else was going on, he didn't concern himself with, during practice and when we were working on specific things. I also think, like, in his playing days, one of the things that he learned early in his career is to not focus on what people thought of him and just be himself and play his game, which was a huge separator, because you're playing a position and you're playing in a sport and in a market where a lot of people are thinking about what you're doing, and that can wear on someone, and have the ability to block that kind of noise out is huge.
Big time. And it's interesting that you say that, because I always tell goalies, I said, you can go around being concerned about what people think of you, when really it's you have to say to yourself, none of my business what other people think of you. But I always say to goalies, I go, would you rather be the goalie who is, say you're really good, yet you're thinking people don't think you're that good, and you think of how that's going to affect your performance? What if you're a goalie who's not quite as good as the other goalie that we're comparing you to, yet you think people think that you are God's gift to goaltending? Who's probably going to perform better?
Yeah, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
100%.
So you might as well just implant in your seed that everyone thinks that you are the best goaltender ever, and just go with that.
Yeah, I agree.
Go with that.
So much of it, as goalies are developing and growing up, they're in positions where there's a lot of outside noise and a lot of people that are, kind of in the perimeter. You don't need to let those guys in, or even what you think they think about. You just completely block that out, and I think that makes a huge difference on your ability to focus, to concentrate, and to obviously perform.
Big time. And speaking of that, I know you worked a lot with Stuart Skinner, right? And I worked a lot with Stuart Skinner as well too. What do you think has been the key for him to block out the noise when he was in Edmonton? There were some negative comments, even like death threats and stuff like that. And what do you think the key was for him to block that out?
Well, I think the biggest thing is you need to isolate yourself from all of that stuff, and it's going to be in your face when you go to the rink. From the media and different things like that, and even the public. So, living in a city like that for any goaltender, you kind of have to get used to, kind of staying away from public, so to speak, and to sort of isolate yourself. At the same time, you still need some balance to live a normal life. So it's definitely a challenge for anyone in that type of position.
Yeah. And I guess the way I always phrase it is just remain in the athlete mindset. Stay as soon as a goalie, as an athlete, we start thinking like a fan. To me, we go downhill, right? Cannot think like a fan thinks. Just athlete mindset. Whatever. I had a great game, right? I'm not going to get too excited about that great game. I got to do the same thing next game, right? Or I had a game that I didn't like. I'm not going to get too excited that I didn't like it. I still got to deliver the next game.
Yeah. It's really important to have a short memory on those things and move on. Win, lose, or draw, because the team needs you the next day, and you need to show up at practice and continue to do the same thing no matter what happens.
Big time. And I know you worked a lot with Tim Thomas as well, too. Now, Tim Thomas literally stole the Stanley Cup from Vancouver in 2010 in the finals there against Vancouver, against Roberto Luongo. Was there one or two things that Tim Thomas and Carey Price had in common between them, like as far as that helped them to be successful?
Ultra competitive, both of them. And I think probably Carey focused on blocking outside the noise outside, sorry. And I think Tim probably really didn't even care to begin with about what anyone thought of him or how he played or anything like that. So they both accomplished the same thing with a different, slightly different approach on how they did it.
Yeah.
But number one, both of those guys are ultra competitive in everything they do.
Got it. So compete level, no matter what.
Yeah.
Right. And how do you work that in when you train your goaltenders, right? So let's say you're working on a certain technique or something like that. What do you tell them to do when it's the heat of the moment and they have to make that save? They may have to sometimes drop what they've learned just to battle and do whatever it takes to make that save. What do you tell them to do in moments like that?
Well, I think when you're working on specific goalie skills or techniques or drills or whatever the case is, excuse me, you need to understand the fine details and work through those details, but you need to always make sure that your goal is always to stop the puck. I've seen situations where guys are working on stuff and they're not so much focused on being competitive in the drills. I think once you see a goalie that's just kind of not necessarily going through the motions, trying to become super technical. And don't have the battle and the compete. I think you need both at the same time, and you can do that in the drills. There's certain drills that you may do that are slightly abstract that you can back that off a little bit, but most of the time when we're doing stuff, it's for real. It's game on. Like the pucks that we're shooting in the drills, you got to treat them all exactly the same. It doesn't matter if it's the first shot in the warm-up or the last shot in overtime. It's got to be the same.
And I noticed that in your camps, one of the things that you do really well, you and Liam do really, really well, is you run the drills similar to a game. Like you'll have major junior shooters out there, like Western Hockey League, Ontario Hockey League, pro shooters out there with these goaltenders, and not just someone off the street. You got really, really good shooters. And how important is that for the goaltenders when they're training?
Well, I feel that if you have the type of goaltending instruction where you have one coach stand in front of one goalie and have black and white drills with no gray area, you're actually moving backwards. You end up looking really good. The drills stay intact. They look perfect. They work well. But if you don't have drills with gray areas where shooters have options to shoot or pass, you're destroying the instincts of that athlete and just making him to a cookie cutter goaltending school goalie that is not going to perform to their best of their ability in games. So we try and have all of our camps, all of our settings, all of our drills look exactly like a hockey game.
Got it. Okay. Good stuff. Now, I know you did a lot of work with Devan Dubnyk as well, too, another very, very successful goalie. And so now if you look at Devan Dubnyk, you look at Tim Thomas, and you look at Carey Price, separate than compete, what would be another thing that, say, those three would have had in common to make them successful?
think analytical, understand the game, learn the game, not just your position. Really be into how to play the game on your team, and understand it from that perspective is huge. I mean, we need to be a student of the position, we need to be a student of the game, and we need to understand how the game works, not only on our physical self, but what's happening in front of us. And their hockey sense for all three of them stands out. Now you add Devan into that.
So their hockey sense, okay. So I noticed, I was had Ian Clark on, and Ian was saying that one of the things that he really liked about Carey Price is that Carey Price could move laterally and still read the play when he's moving. Right? Whereas a lot of guys are like, okay, I remember when I played, I have to go from A to B. I'd already have B in my mind. That's where I'm going. But it seems like Carey Price knows he's going from A to B, yet he can also read the play and he can adjust as he's going across, which I thought was pretty phenomenal.
Well, one of the things we spent a lot of time in working at is following the puck on the ice, no different than you follow it with a shot, with your nose on the puck. So you don't get ahead of the play, you don't get behind the play, you stay with the play. So if the puck moves across the ice and stops halfway, you can adjust with your visual attachment on the puck, with your nose being on the puck. You're
tracking it just as well as if you're facing that shot.
Exactly. A pass and a shot
powerful.
is the same thing to me.
Got it. What was another thing, say, about Devan Dubnyk that really stood out when you worked with him?
I think he always wanted to get better.
Okay.
I worked with him as a very young goaltender.
Yeah.
Bantam, goalie. I think actually I worked with him since his second year of Pee Wee. He was the best goalie in the city, in Calgary, and probably the best goalie in the province, and known for that. But he didn't look at it that way.
Okay.
He always looked at it, I can get better, I'm open-minded, I'm here to compete, I'm here to work, and always pushed himself. He never held himself high. He just worked to get better all the time.
But so I guess my question is, was there a goaltender who was just as good as Devan Dubnyk at that age, maybe not at the same time, but maybe a few years before, a few years after, that didn't play in the National Hockey League, and what was it that held them back?
Generally, goalies that I've seen over the years that could have made it, should have made it, and didn't make it was because they thought they were better than they were.
Really?
They didn't accept where they were. They didn't blossom where they were planted. They just felt like it was going to happen without them putting in the energy, the focus, and all the things that it takes. They just thought over time they'll end up getting there rather than working to it. And then the other thing that I noticed a lot is excuses. Yeah, excuses for everything.
Like the puck didn't bounce my way tonight, or give me an example.
Blaming.
Okay, the blame game.
Yeah, the blame game generally, and it may not be, it could be on the coach, it could be on the organization, it could be on a teammate, it could be on anything, but that's what I've noticed happening a lot with goaltenders that don't get to the level that I felt like they could have. And that all stems from having a bad attitude towards it.
Yeah, big time, right? Because, ultimately, and I always say this as a goaltender, the best way to look at it, no matter what, and you know this, even if it's a 3-on-0 and it's a pass and a one-timer, it's deflected and you get pushed out of the net, I think you still have to look at it after the game was, if this happens again, how am I going to stop that puck? What am I going to do next time?
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
So without, how do I say it? Without blaming yourself, you take responsibility, right? Because if you blame yourself, you'll beat yourself up. I think you can still take responsibility. And how do I continue to get better? Right?
I agree.
And you look at it like, if I don't make a save, that's weird. Like, I normally stop the puck.
Yeah.
Right? So, what is one thing that you teach goalies that when you played, if you had done that or had been taught that, it would have made a big difference for you? What's the one thing that comes to mind?
I think skating.
Okay.
Yeah, a ton of work on skating is something that we focus on. It's happening all the time.
Yep.
There's a lot of goaltenders that can stand still and make saves. The ability to read the play and the ability to skate and move in the net is huge.
Got it. Okay.
And we spend a lot of time working on that.
Yeah, you do all the time. That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
These are great questions.
You know, I know that you've started to do some work with some other athletes in different sports, and I think that hockey in a lot of areas can be behind the other sports, so we can learn a lot from other athletes in other sports and other coaches in other sports. So it's neat to see that you've moved on, and I know you're working with some guys in Major League Baseball and different things like that, which I think is, being a baseball fan, that's huge. I'm really excited
enjoy it.
That's really neat. So that's really cool. And then I see you're doing some stuff now with parents, which there's a million good hockey parents and good parents in general that help their kids out a lot. But they need help and they need support. And sometimes they feel like, as a goalie parent, they're a little bit on their own. And sometimes they try and overdo it and they think they're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
But they end up doing some of the wrong stuff that makes it even harder for their child to excel in the position. So I think it's great that you're doing stuff to support goaltender parents as well.
I appreciate that. Let's talk about parents for a bit, because you've probably come across some parents, like say a lot of parents, like they mean well, they just want the best for their child, right? But I'm sure we've both seen parents that have hurt their goaltenders based on some of the things that they do. What would be the number one thing for a parent to avoid doing with their goaltender that you've seen?
Probably the same thing. Some goaltending parents think that their goaltender is better than their goaltender is, and rather than encourage work and improvement, there's a bit of a blame game that goes on, or they think they have a lot of the answers to things that they haven't gone through before. A lot of hockey parents are going through it for the first time as a parent.
Yep.
And the last time. So that sometimes there's no redo. So and sometimes when they have a goaltender that's good, and let's say really good or exceptional, they stop listing. Because they think this is just going to turn out the way that I think it's going to turn out.
That's interesting that you say that. So and similar with goaltenders as well, too, attempting to get better.
It's the same.
It's almost like that book by Carey Price called Mindset, and it's all about the difference between the growth mindset and the fixed mindset.
Yeah.
We can go in and out of it. So when parents stop and go in that fixed mindset, or goalies go in that fixed mindset, they're not just going to stop. It's going to get worse, right? It's not going to get any better. So we always have to look for a way to grow.
Yeah, I have this thing that I've written down, and I'll give it to the odd goalie or the odd parent, and it says, in 10 years, when you ask me this question, why didn't you tell me at the time? Because at the time you knew everything and you wouldn't listen.
Yes. What are you most proud of as a goalie coach? What are you most proud of?
I don't think anything other than being able to do what I do on a daily basis with so many good people that work so hard. Although end goals are super important, from my position and what I do, I'm just locked in on process and enjoying the process as it's happening with all these young goaltenders that are moving up is what I enjoy. Yep. I don't have an end goal. I don't necessarily need to get more students to the NHL, although it seems to be happening.
You've gotten a lot there
all the time. So it's not my goal. It will happen, but it's more the process to make the guys get to the highest level they can and enjoy the game as much as they possibly can throughout. Because a lot of these kids, it's supposed to be fun, and there's going to be ups and downs, but it has to be fun most of the time. And if it's not, then what are we doing it for? So I really encourage these kids to enjoy it, enjoy the whole thing that it's a learning process and all this type of stuff. But at the same time, make sure you enjoy every day of it.
Yeah, big time. Now, organizations, sometimes when you go higher up, say major, junior, National Hockey League and stuff, sometimes organizations can be pretty negative if they're not winning. What can a goalie do to still have fun during times like that. Like I remember my second year in the Western Hockey League, it was like the most painful hockey year of my life. It was, we were not winning, coaching, everything was negative in there, right? And it was just hard to be there. I don't know if I'm playing the blame game, but I'm just going back there, and that's the way I looked at it at the time. So what can a goalie do to get back to still having fun in a situation like that?
Well, I think there's a lot of negativity around sport when you're not winning. But that shouldn't change your process and your thought process, because you've got another game to play, and you're going to focus on trying to win that and doing everything you can to win the next game. So it's important to be able to put things behind you and move on, and every day is a fresh day.
I love that.
Don't think about, this is I'm going through a good stretch, or I'm going through a bad stretch, or I'm stringing good games together, or 4 or 5 games haven't gone the way that they're supposed to go for our team. Sometimes your expectations can interfere with what you're doing. And I think it's very important to, every day, you're going to have a schedule, you're going to have a routine, you're going to have a practice, you're going to have a game, to stay in the moment and enjoy it as it comes.
Yeah, I love it. Every day is a fresh new opportunity.
100%.
Right? Yeah. So put the past behind you, just be fully present in the moment. And like I say, always stay in that athlete mindset as well too, right? What can I do to get it better? What can I do today? And also, man, it's crazy because our perception is, so here it goes, our perception is our only reality and only our reality. So you could probably have 2 goalies in the same situation, and one goalie's having a blast. It's the best time ever.
Yeah.
The other goalie, it's totally painful.
Exactly.
Because of the different things that they're looking at and responding to.
Yeah.
So when I go back to when I was talking about that second year in hockey, when it was so much, it wasn't fun, it was negative. That was my perception. I could have flipped that around and said, this is a lot of fun.
Of course.
Right? We're almost winning. Right?
Yeah, or you might not.
I
even
almost
have been
stopped that puck. I was pretty close. In my head, I did.
Or you may not even have been at that level. Like there was 100 goalies in your age group in the province of BC that wish they would have played on the Portland Winterhawks or the Victoria Cougars.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe more than that. So you're fortunate to be in a position, enjoy it. No matter how bad it gets, you gotta look at it. Look at the bright side of the whole thing all the time.
Powerful, and one powerful technique I think that you just brought up there is gratitude. No matter 100%. What, when we are grateful, we cannot be negative. We cannot be upset when we're grateful.
100%.
Right? Yeah. Think of it.
It's very important.
Yep. Powerful.
It's important even to thank the people that you're around on a daily basis that you're working with, because that shows it as well, and then that gets your mind into that idea that this isn't. I've earned it to be here, but I need to be grateful that I've been given the opportunity to even be here.
Big time. Yes. Okay, let's talk coaches. And so we're talking hockey coaches, because goaltending is a position that has more, I believe. I know we were talking other sports as well too, but I believe goaltending has more controllables than any position in sports. Is there one that you can think of that has more controllables than a goalie? There may be. I may not thought of it.
I don't think so.
Like a baseball pitcher? No. Like I work with a relief pitcher.
Yeah.
And there's not as many uncontrollables as the goalie, because he's still on the ground, not on ice.
Yeah, and
can't lose an edge.
And although he's in a defensive position, pitching is really an offensive position, really, because you're in control of it.
Yeah.
So it's as important and as impactful as the goaltender, but it's at the same time it's altogether different. But I think they're the most 2 comparable, positions in team sport.
Yeah. I didn't know you were that much of a baseball fan. We'll have to go to a game.
100%. Yeah.
Right? We'll go meet one of them. Yeah. Well, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. What can they do to give their goaltenders more certainty? And the reason I say that, because as humans, if we have too much uncertainty, it drives us crazy. So we need some certainty. So what would be 1 or 2 things a coach could do to give their goaltenders some certainty?
Just be open with your goaltenders and have a good relationship with both of them. I know a lot of the time head coaches sort of, push the goalies aside and let the goaltending coach be responsible for them and all that kind of stuff. But I think it's important that, you show your goaltenders that you care, you believe, and you understand, and have a strong, trusting relationship with your goaltenders. Is really important. I remember this is going back into the early years, and we were skating in Calgary, and Jacques Martin took the time to come and watch Carey work out for a few days in the off season. And I've never seen that before that. I've never seen that since. But that's a huge...
that says a lot. He could have been out on a boat on a lake.
Do whatever, yeah. It shows a lot and show that he cared. And he genuinely cared. You could really tell in the conversation, not only did he talk to Carey about some things while he was there, he took the time to sit down with me and understand where he was, where his mind was, and how he was doing. And I could tell he wasn't just there to show that he cared. He was actually there and cared. So I think that stuff like that's really important. And during the years, to talk to the goalies, and once in a while come out and watch the goaltending portion of your team's practice as a head coach. You don't need to, watch a ton, but you need to be there and understand what they're doing and what they're going through and how hard they're really working.
That would go a long way, almost like a CEO of a company going to like the front lines of the company.
100%.
And just, hey, how's everything going? How are you guys doing? Stuff like that, similar to that. Because I hear from a lot of goalies that the coach just never talks to me.
Yeah, and that goes at every level. So I think it's important that you do, and you talk to your goaltenders and you have a good relationship with them. And I know a lot of younger coaches that are coming up do value that and do have that sort of idea that they need to talk to their goalies. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah, big time. I really think they need a program for Hockey Canada to teach coaches to understand a little bit of the mental, how the mind works. Right?
Yeah,
that's where I think I was just on with a Western Hockey League goalie last week, and I worked with his goalie partner this year, and he was telling me that his GM said a couple things to him, and he told me exactly what the GM said. And I for every behavior there's a positive intention. The GM had a positive intention, but the fact is what he said planted negative images and seeds in his head. Right?
Yeah.
You know who's really good? I found. He's called me a couple times, is Willie Deschardins.
Very good.
Willie will say, I'm not going to say this to the goaltender because I do not want to plant a negative seed in their head.
Yeah.
Right? Because you coached in Medicine Hat, I think, when Willie was there, right?
Yes, I did. Yeah, he was a great coach to work with and for.
Why was he a good coach for goalies? Why was Willie Deschardins a good coach for goalies as a head coach of a team?
I don't think there was just one thing. I think it was all things. It was, Willie's personality. He believes in having good people with good character and all those things. And he doesn't just say that; he lives that himself. So he generally cares about all of his players on the team. It doesn't matter forward, defense, goaltender. It doesn't matter assistant coach, video coach, scout. He cares about the person before he cares about the player. And I think that goes a long way for goaltenders. It goes a long way for anyone that's around them. Yeah. But it specifically helps goaltenders where they may feel in the past or in other situations that their coach really doesn't care. He cares. I mean, there's only two positions on a hockey team that have wins and losses on their record, and that's the head coach and the goalie. So
I never thought of that.
They have something in common.
Yeah.
There's two people that get blamed more for losses, the head coach and the goaltender. So they should have a bond. And if you see the coaches that are end up in the Hall of Fame, they usually had Hall of Fame goaltenders too.
That's so true. That's so true. Wow, good point. Yeah. Eli's got a lot of nuggets here. Hey, I didn't know that. The only people on the team that wins and losses are the coaches and the goaltenders. Yeah. Right. I remember the other nugget that you said. For goalies bouncing back after not making a save, right? If it's a good goal or a bad goal, who cares? If it's a bad goal, how much does it count for?
It was just one.
Good goal?
One.
That's it, right?
That's all it is.
That's very powerful for goalies to know too.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What have been, and of course, do not say the name of the coach, but what have been, say, 1 to 3 things you've seen a head coach do that have been bad for goaltenders, that any head coaches listening should avoid 100%?
Well, I specifically remember one time where it was the beginning of the season and players had come
Where
back.
was this? I'm just joking, because
Players are going to come back to the team,
Yeah.
and we're going to have a meeting with all the players one-on-one to see where their expectations are, see what their goals are, see how their off season was, how they worked out, whatever the case was.
Yeah.
And we had a goaltender that traditionally he'd been overweight. Okay. But he had really focused on getting his weight to where they wanted to.
He was working on it. Working on it.
Like 4 months of just like, this is what I need to do. And that's all he cared about.
I think I know where this is going.
Because they were battling.
Yep.
And the first thing the coach said to him brought that up.
What did he say?
And I don't remember.
Can you repeat what he said?
I can't remember exactly what it says, but like.
Was he sarcastic?
Yeah, he was. And something to do with the scale. And it just devastated the kid.
And everyone else probably laughed. He was doing it to get a joke.
Yeah. And what had happened too is he still wasn't at the weight that they wanted him to be at.
But he made a big improvement.
But he made a huge improvement. So it wasn't specifically about goaltending, but that can have an impact where it does 2 things. Devastates the kid, short term or long term. But if you thought that was going to help him at all, it's not. And 2, if you did have any chance to have a good relationship, you ruined it.
It's gone.
Because it was the most conscious thing in his mind that he was overweight. So that's one of the things, and there's more examples like that.
Yeah, so I just want to pause you for a sec. So number 1 for coaches, eliminate sarcasm. It doesn't work. The coaches may think they're funny. Eliminate sarcasm. Because here's the key thing: the subconscious mind, it cannot tell the difference between a joke and something that is real. Right? So eliminate sarcasm.
Yeah, that's a good tip.
Yeah. Carry on. This is really good, Eli.
Yeah, I think those type of things, and when you have a conversation with somebody, yeah, you're going to have organic conversations and stuff like that. But if you want to have an impactful conversation about something with a player, a goaltender, you need to think it a bit through, and you need to think about what are the results going to be at the end of this meeting. It's not always about getting your point across.
Yeah.
It's about what can I do, what can I say to make this guy or this goaltender be better, perform better, improve.
I love that.
Really try and hold people accountable for something that's already happened.
Yes,
Who cares?
yes.
Let's just move on and be better.
Yeah, because you think about it. If you're a coach, you're going into a meeting with a goaltender. What's my true outcome here? My true outcome is that my goalie's going to dominate next game.
100%.
If they ask themselves that before the meeting, well, they're going to come up with some different stuff than they normally do.
I would agree. Yeah.
That is really good. Okay. Top 3 advices for goalies that are listening. What would be the top 3 things to tell them? Besides going to your camp, you guys got to go to Eli's camp. I speak there a lot, and Eli's got great kids. He's so professional, so good.
Work ethic, dedication. Those 2 things are huge to me, and then and then be open-minded on change in your game to improve. I think a lot of goaltenders have had coaching, and really have a fixed way of doing things.
Yep.
And the easiest way to improve is change. So if you refuse to change, you're going to have a challenge improving. If you think you're going to just get better at what you're already doing, it may not give you the best opportunity to succeed. So I think you need to be open-minded on techniques that will improve your game. Can I?
You ever heard of can I? CANI? Constant, never-ending improvement.
Yes.
Can I? Yes. Yes. That's powerful. So always look for a way to get better.
100%. I see so many goaltenders that I've come to us that would have worked with us for a first time. And, but I've always done it this way. But this way's not working. You haven't reached your potential. You're not the best goalie in the world yet. So take a look at this. Does this make more sense? Is this going to work better for you? Yeah, there may be a little bit of pain in making the change, but can you see at the end, if you do this properly, are you going to be a better goalie for it? And I see a lot of guys that won't buy in and make those changes. I mean, we have great success at our camp with buy-in with our goaltenders, but I see goaltenders that, maybe something's come in front of them and they try it, it doesn't work early, so they go back to their old skill, and it doesn't give them the best chance and best opportunity to be the best goalie that they can be.
Got it. There's a way to do it better than you're doing it now, and it works.
100%.
They need to buy into that.
100%.
Yeah, big time.
And you need to have that open-mindedness to be able to do it. I watch goaltenders clips, NHL. Like I watch goaltenders full games that I work with, but I'll watch a lot of clips of other goalies. And the number one thing that I see is ways they could have made saves. And there's a lot of them. And those are the best goalies in the world right now.
Yep.
And I still see, things to change, that they could adjust, that they could be better goalies than they are. And even goaltenders at that level, I've had the opportunity to be involved in a couple of different camps the last few years where it's not specific to goaltender, but there's NHL goalies there. And I'll get a little bit of time with those goaltenders at the beginning of the ice session. Good goalies, professional goalies, American League, NHL goalies. So, some of the best goalies in the world.
Yeah.
Closed mindset on changing things that they do. When I watch their clips ahead of the camp to see that these are the goals that are going in, or you're not coming up with the save with consistently.
Good language change.
They won't make the change.
Really?
They won't make the change in that setting, and it hurts them. Some will, but some guys they think they're better than they are.
That's interesting because Bobrovsky, right? Bobrovsky wouldn't have been one of those guys, right? He wouldn't have been one of those guys.
No.
I'm assuming because after he won the Vezina Trophy, he called Ian, who was his coach in Columbus at the time, and he said, Ian, let's take a look at the 5 best goalies in the world. And he just won the Vezina, right? He's like, let's look at the 5 best goalies in the world. Let's take one thing from each of them to get even better.
Yeah.
That's a mentality. They got to have that mentality, right?
All of them need that. I see so many NHL goalies today that are not as good as they could be. Yeah. And that's not even knowing them at all.
Yeah.
And that's from a simple technical and tactical standpoint.
Yeah. Wow.
It doesn't take. Yeah, you shouldn't make a change in your game to make one more save. You should identify areas that you can make multiple more saves during the season by making these adjustments to your game. And there's goalies that I watch on a daily basis that 2 or 3 adjustments could take them from the middle of the pack to the top.
Yeah, and if they're not making them, someone else is.
Exactly.
And someone else is going to catch them unless they do that.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, you are one of the very, very best goalie coaches in the world. And there's lots of goalie coaches that are going to be watching this. What is some advice that you would give a goalie coach watching to become even better? Let's say there's a goalie coach that's first starting out. What's the biggest advice you would give to them?
The dedication and work ethic. Get on the ice as much as you can with as many goalies as you can, and you improve a lot more as a coach working with younger goalies than older goalies. Learn how to teach.
Yep.
There's lots of goaltenders and goaltending people that know the game inside out, and that's only part of what we do. You need to understand the game, but you need to build and then teach the game, and then you need to be able to make sure that goaltender is able to perform those skills that you've taught. So the knowledge about, okay, this is what we need to do is just a small fraction of what coaching really is.
Got it. Okay, fantastic. One thing that could be good for you to have, maybe as an addition in your camps, could be a mentoring program for younger goalie coaches. I bet they would come like crazy.
Well, goaltending coaches, like most of the coaches at our camps are former students.
Okay,
the vast majority.
perfect.
So they've come through the program. But we've had a lot of guys that are goaltending coaches in other areas start working at the camp and come for a week, and we'll hire them to come in and coach goalies for a week and get an opportunity to learn. And some of those relationships have been over 15 years lasting now. So it's been pretty exciting.
Like Steve Shutt.
Yeah, he came for years, and he's running a great program in Oshawa. And we've got guys as far away as Europe and Newfoundland that have come to our camps and helped out, and now they're doing their own things. And I'm just as proud of those guys that have been able to excel in coaching than I am with some of the goaltenders that I've worked with that have made it to the best league in the world.
Yeah. Pete Fry, the Goalie Mindset guy here. This is the Goalie Mindset Podcast. The great Eli Wilson on today. Eli, thanks for coming on.
Thanks a lot.
You are the best.
Thank you.
You bet.